Have you ever heard about the Chinese traditional story? It's about three emperors in mainland China who fight each other for the land, for the power, several thousand years ago. Back to several years ago, they fight for the land, they fight for the power. However, the strategies applied several thousand years ago can also be applied in nowadays commercial world. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, honorable judges. Our company of today's case study is a Visa company, the credit card sponsor. Now, you will probably found some of the recommendations by the end of the presentation, some of the recommendations that we give similar to the strategies used several thousand years ago. Now, I will hand over the time to my partner to talk about more about the company.
Thank you, Tracy. So now I'm going to talk about the background of Visa company. It is the biggest EPS provider in worldwide in terms of the transaction value with a 3.7 trillion US dollar. Compared with all the other competitors, include Mastercard and also China UnionPay. And also for the product Visa provided include apart from Visa, apart from credit card, and also include a debit card and reloadable prepaid card. And also the commercial payment solution for business and also government. So the product and services that they provide include a wide range of include business and also government. Next. For the next part, I will do some analysis of Visa company. First of all, we will define the strength of Visa company. One of the strengths of Visa company is it is a mature company in global market. From the product life cycle, it is at a mature stage of product life cycle. And as a result of that product life cycle, Visa company has a very strong brand image which attached to the customer. So as a result of that, it has a very strong customer base in worldwide compared with other competitors. And there is because of it is in a mature state, there is a strong need for differentiation because we need to differentiate our Visa with other competitors to create more strong brand image and also customer relationship. The next strength is that Visa has a common set of operating regulations in worldwide. It is to say that they have a common set of goals and common set of regulation provided for the worldwide members to ensure that the efficiency and also consistency of the business performance. So as a result of that, the whole business performance can be consistent and the efficiency can be ensured. The next one is the weakness of Visa company, in the internal weakness. It has a weaker payment settlement system compared with the competitor, which is China UnionPay. Because we can define into two parts. One is the currency settlement and also for the exchange rate. For the currency settlement, for Visa card, whenever the customer use Visa card for transaction, it require the customer to pay 1 to 2% transaction fee to Visa. So this is a cost incurred for the customer. And for the currency conversion, when the customer use the Visa card, it is charged based on local currency, and then transfer and then convert into US dollar, and then finally convert into renminbi. So it is a complex process of currency conversion, and also in the process of this conversion, it could create some cost for the customer and some loss for them. But however, by looking at the China UnionPay, it is free of charge transaction fees. So no transaction fee for the customer could attract them to use more of the China UnionPay. And also for the conversion of currency, it is charged based on local currency and then convert into renminbi directly without having to go into the process of transfer into US dollar. So that could reduce the cost for the customer. And for the exchange rate for the Visa card, whenever the customer use the Visa card, it is based on self-set exchange rate by Visa card. However, for the China Yuan Pay, it is based on the same day exchange rate for the customer. So it is more fair for the customer and also ensure them to know the charge that they are going to pay. Next one, I'll pass to Tracy to talk about the next part.
Thank you, Natalie. So I will talk about the opportunities that this company have been faced. Of course, Asian market is a very delicious piece of cake. It is true for every company. It have, in terms of the financial card usage, the Asian Pacific area has around 50% of the market share, and in terms of the transaction value, it has around 30%, which means the credit card companies have a large room, have a large space to improve their business in the Asian Pacific areas. And in terms of the China, because China is definitely one of the most promising developing countries in Asian Pacific area, it has outbound Chinese travelers all over the world nowadays. And when they use the credit cards overseas, it can bring them business. And in 2011, last year, they have 65 million outbound travelers, and they expand around 33.1 billion US dollars outside mainland China. And it is expected that in the year 2020, the travelers, outbound travelers, Chinese travelers, will be 100 million, and that's a lot of potential customers for the credit card company. And in terms of the threats, it is a very competitive. The market of credit cards is very competitive. It's major competitions from the CUP and also the MasterCard company. In the global wise, the Visa and MasterCard definitely have a very good advantages over the CUP, but in terms of the mainland China, they probably don't have such advantages, and who knows in the future. So let's talk about the challenge, because the main case of this case study is about entrance into the Chinese market. So let's talk about the challenge that this company will face in mainland China. Firstly, in mainland China, in the specific Chinese market, it has already lagged behind the CUP because CUP have the monopoly, because of the regulation, because of the policies which are in favor of the Chinese brand, the CUP. Therefore, they have already lagged behind the CUP. And also, we have mentioned that because of the travelers, so many Chinese travelers all over the world, they spend using the CUP instead of a Visa because they have more, as my teammate just mentioned, they have a more advantageous policies. Especially when they have the card renewal, they would just change their Visa credit card and change it into the CUP because of more better policies. And also in mainland China, because in the Asian market, many Chinese people have a very traditional idea custom that they would like to use cash instead of the credit cards. Of course, we believe that in the future that this kind of dilemma probably will be solved in the future, but still it is a challenge for the company to overcome in the following years. And now I will hand over to my teammates to talk about other parts.
Yes, as mentioned by my group mate, that entering China is a must for Visa to do that, and because China is very profitable and with their growing economic and population, so if we can capture the China market share, we can definitely increase our profit. And as one of the giant of financial cards, we have to increase our coverage of the road. So it is a must for us to enter China market to remain our competitive position in the global market. And that's why our first recommendation talks about how to enter China market and talks about how we should keep our relationship with CUP. And because of Visa is nowadays facing a lot of challenge in the coming future. For example, the future change, how can it adapt to the future change, as well as the antitrust problem, and also the CUP's growth in global market, and also how can Visa to overcome its internal weakness. So that our second recommendation will based on how to rely on the global strategy in response to the changing global market and the market situation. And also our recommendation 3 is talks about how we can maintain our competitive position through promotion strategies. So I'll talk about the first recommendation first. We try to enter the China market by co-branding with CUP. We would like to borrow their brand knowledge of CUP so that we can access to China market easier. And also under this co-branding situation, we have we have to try to settle the transition by good clear division of labor, and for all RMB transaction will be processed by CUP, and for all non-RMB transactions will be processed by Visa. But you may ask that as the trade dispute happened in the past, how can CUP agree to cooperate with us again? And so we have to provide some incentive for them to try to choose us again. That is, we try to help them to access to the global market, and we can do this by encouraging the use of Visa Union Play. We hope to investigate some problem, some solution to share some proportion of our transaction fee to CUP, so that they can, at the same time, they have to pay the loyalty fee to us. But if they use the Visa Union Pay in other place other than China, they can receive part of the transaction fee from us, so that we can achieve the win-win situation and ensure them to use our Visa Union Pay card in other place rather than they use their own credit cards. Then I will pass to my team members to talk about the next point.
The next 2 recommendations will be talked by me and Kathy. And the next one, it is about how to respond to the changing markets, because China market is emerging and more Chinese would like to travel to other countries and would like to use the credit cards for their consumptions. How could they respond? How could the Visa company respond to these situations? And the second recommendation is about the modification on regulation, because as my teammates have mentioned that some regulation of Visa is not quite favorable and not attractive for their partners or for the consumers. And here I will give you some briefly review of the regulation between the CUP and the Visa, and there is a comparison between these 2 companies. And it incurs 3 aspects of the comparison between the regulation. And it is about the fee for currency settlements, exchange rate used for payment settlements, and also the penalty if they do not, if the other company do not use the card for the international transaction. And the first 2 aspects my teammates has talked about is very detailed, and it is about CUP will have no charge for the currency settlements, but Visa will have 1 to 2% of charges on the currency settlements. And on the other hand, CUP will based on the same-day exchange rate for the payment settlements, while Visa will have a self-set exchange rate, and it incurs a large transactional cost and not fair to the consumers. And the last one, it is about the penalty. The penalty is about whether the other companies will have to give a penalty or fines if they do not use the Visa or CUP for the international transaction. For CUP, it will offer no penalties for other companies if they do not use the card. While the Visa, they will have some penalties around US$50,000 for the other companies if they do not use their Visa net payment system for international transaction. And here I will give 3 recommendations on the modification on regulations. The first one, the penalty systems of Visa should remove, because it will make the other companies do not want to partner with Visa, since a CUP offers no penalty for them, and they will think that why I should choose Visa rather than CUP, and you give us a very large penalty. And that's why the penalty system should remove the too much regulation will break the relationship of Visa and other companies, and it will build bad reputation between them, and it is not good for both companies, and we can't attain the win-win situation. And next one, the Visa should keep the service charge. And you will think that why Visa should keep the service charge, because CUP do not have the service charge for others. But Visa is a very reputable company, and this service charge can act as income revenue. At the same time, because Visa has a very large market share, and most people prefer to use Visa nowadays, and the market share is larger than CUP nowadays. And Visa could use this advantage over CUP and keep the service charge, and other companies would still like to pay this service charge in order to benefit for the large customer base of Visa card. And people will think it is very convenient to use Visa card. And the last one, the exchange rate. The exchange rate of Visa card should based on the same day, because we have mentioned that in currently Visa have a self-set exchange rate, and this is not fair for the other companies. But if they change their regulation and use the exchange rate based on the same day, and it can have a lower transaction cost and no need to involve 2 currency transactions, which is very complicated and is not convenience for both companies. And the next one, it is about how to maintain the competitive position in the market, because in the future there will be a rapid competition between CUP and also the Visa card and also and other competitors. And Visa card should keep the competitive position by doing more promotions. And the promotions could act as an add value service to the company, and we have 2 strategies for them. The first one, it is about the bonus points, because the bonus point can attract customers to use the card for transactions. The Visa cards could offer 15 times bonus points if the customers use the credit cards for transaction or consumptions. And the next one, it is about the strategic alliance, because having strategic alliance is good for Visa cards because they can strengthen their relationship and strengthen their market shares, and it can have a strategic alliance with famous shopping malls like IFC, because it have more transaction and people would like to use credit cards for a large transaction. And also with foreign brands, because Visa card is very famous within the foreign brands, and they are more familiar with Visa card and more easy to establish the relationship and credibilities with Visa cards. They can get a 10% discount if the customers use Visa card for consumption. And to conclude, we have over 3 aspects of recommendation to tackle the issues we have mentioned above. And I hope that these 3 recommendations would help to maintain the competitive position of Visa card, and it can help to maintain the position in China market as well as the global market, and handle the rapid competition with the CUP in the future. And that's the end of our presentation. Thank you.
the financial implications are also considered as a result of implementing your recommendation. Will your recommendation still a valid recommendation to Visa going to China? What I ask for is actually you may gain the top line, but you're actually losing your bottom line. So that's not the way to do business.
You mean the financial implications of our all the recommendations? Yeah, we have think about that, but because we think that recommendation, the new ideas probably will come first, and we would like to think about that and in the further of our strategies and also recommendations about that. Thank you for your questions.
What is your timetable for implementing all these three strategies?
Actually, Visa can also adopt these three recognition at the same time, because at the same time they can enter the China market by co-branding with CUP, as well as for the second point is to try to modify their regulation to improve its brand reputation, because nowadays, as mentioned by the case, many companies may also have some trade dispute with Visa as they are not satisfied by the penalties they charge if once they sign the contract with Visa. So I think this two strategy can be imposed at the same time. And also for the promotion, it is a very generic strategy to increase the usage of our brand. So I think Visa can still adopt these strategies at the same time to improve the brand image globally and in the market, in the China market.
My question was around your recommendations, which I think you acknowledged by saying that some of them have already been agreed, so how can Visa make it happen this time around? You suggested that they could help CUB access the global market. I think what came through for me strongly from here was that CUP is already quite strong and beating Visa in a number of markets outside of China, or if not beating, certainly catching up. Did you consider how possible how much of the work Visa's already done in terms of your recommendations, and what could they still do to make it happen? Were those considerations given that CUP already does seem to be catching up to Visa outside of China?
Yes, thank you for your question. I think CPU is targeting on global market. That's right. But I think the pace of them is still slow and not faster than us, because for Visa, it already set up a lot of merchants or many worldwide networks. So I think they can make use of our strength, that is the good market share, big market share, and also the good network, so they can expand more easier. And at the same time, we can share our part of service charge to them so that they can earn extra money. Yeah, so we think that in this way we can help CUP to expand faster, so they may more likely to agree with our co-branding strategy.
And while they're considering all these strategies and how to deal with CUP, they're also dealing with a lot of lawsuits in other countries, the antitrust claims that are being made against them. Had you given any thought to how that might impact their ability to implement your recommendations?
I think the lawsuits is because actually it's the regulation that imposed by Visa before, but we all agree that it has some, we have to modify our regulations. That's why Kathy points out that we should try to eliminate the penalty that they impose to their strategic partners, so that they can at the same time cooperate with us and also cooperate with other companies. But we think that by removing these penalties policies, they can build up our brand reputation and try to convert their dissatisfied with Visa company. And we still have to keep the service charge in this current stage, because we think that we still have the advantage to cost that service charge, because we have the good network, a good a large network of merchants, and in later parts or maybe in the future, Visa we definitely should put more emphasis on investigate how to reduce this service charge, because other competitors is going up. Yeah.
Apart from the China market, what about the markets in maybe Latin America, Australasia? Because I see that the growth rate is quite high, about double digits. So what about your strategy in those markets?
Because we think that the Asian market, especially mainland China, and is very important, is a very vital problem in this case. So therefore, we focus on how the Visa company enter into the mainland China market, and also the background is the Asian market. We do have some global strategic recommendations, as we have mentioned.
Yes, and also as a global big giant of the financial class, we definitely have to expand our market by investigate the more emerging markets or any other markets to keep our competitive position in global market. So, but we think that because, as mentioned, because China is growing faster than everyone expects, so we should first target on China market first, and also in later parts they can try to deal with other emerging markets.
And also for another certain aspect of view, because due to the increase of the percentage of the Chinese traveler to all over the world, so there is hard to deny that they go to all over the world, and they spend in those Latin America country and also overseas countries. So we cannot. So we also consider that when they go to all other countries for spending, they will use Visa card in all those countries. So this is the implication of Chinese traveler with the world.
Question. How do you see the Citigroup actually this year they used their own credit cards denominated in renminbi in China? How that affect Visa's strategy in China?
We think that definitely it increased the competition situation, because we have more and more competitors in mainland China. But as mentioned, because we have entered China for some days already, and also we would like to co-brand with CUP. That means maybe we can have a larger network than Citibank. So we may have more bargaining power with our target consumers, and if we can capture the market share faster than Citibank, and also keep renewing our service, improving our service quality, I think we can still keep our competitive position in mainland China.
But your disadvantage is that you cannot issue the cards in local currency. You only deal with the foreign currency.
But in another point of view, although we have a lot of difficulties, but it is a sign, it is a significant sign showing that China is willing to open its market to overseas companies. Therefore, we can cooperate it with Citibank, and also we can enter into the China market together in order to increase the bargaining power. It is a sign. It's a more the significant sign probably will be more important than the specific issue.
Thank you, Lingnan University. The time for Q&A is up. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Thank you very much.